So right now, Marcus Rashford has indicated an interest for a Barcelona move, and I think Hansi Flick is also interested. So at this point, we have 5 options for that position. 5 players that Barcelona could be signing during the summer transfer windows. Now we have Lookman, Marcus Rashford, Rafael Leao, Nico Williams, and Luis Diaz. And for me, this is how I think Barcelona should consider these players. The first on the list should be Ademola Lookman. Lookman is a flawless dribbler. He's a good dribbler. He's a good creator. He's a good finisher. And these are the qualities we need from our winger. Remember, we have a standard dribbler in Lamine Yamal. So any player that is coming into Barcelona right now, bossing that left flank, that is not at least 70% as good as Lamine Yamal when it comes to dribbling, we are seriously going to complain. I know my Barcelona fans. And Lookman is that player that we will hardly complain about when it comes to dribbling department, because that guy is flawless. He is actually flawless. He completes most of his dribbles, at least 70 to 80% of his dribbles. So Lookman is that player that we want on that flank. He's a good dribbler, a good creator. He will get you goals. If you check his statistics in Atlanta, you will see that his goals and assists are actually balanced and double figures. Then for me, the second on that list right now should be Marcus Rashford. Rashford is actually a good winger, and he's also that player that can get you goals. He's a good goal scorer as well. Although he's 27 years old, just like Ademola Lookman. I know Barcelona right now are trying to plan for the future. So 27-year-olds are not bad options for that flank. Marcus Rashford is a good winger. He's pacey. He's a good dribbler as well. Not really, very good at dribbling, but he also has his strength. He is a good goal scorer, and he's that player that we can utilize also in the number 9 position. He's a utility player. So for me, Marcus Rashford should be considered second on that list. Then the third player should be Nico Williams. Now Nico Williams is 22 years old, so he's a player for the future. And when it comes to dribbling department, Nico Williams is not really that good. He's not really flawless when it comes to dribbling. He's pacey, and he also relies on his pace to dribble, his markers. But when it comes to dribbling department, he is not really flawless. And then he's not even a good finisher. He is not a good finisher, and even though he's actually, he's actually a good creator, but he's not a good finisher. And his creativity is still not at the level that we might expect from our winger. I think this season in La Liga, he has only 5 goals and 5 assists. Yes, Lamine Yamal is another player that doesn't give us goals, but you can see his assist department. His assist department is up there. And aside statistics, we know what Lamine Yamal brings on the pitch. And that is why his case is different. So when it comes to Nico Williams is not flawless when it comes to dribbles. When it comes to goals, he's not that player that can give us enough goals. And then when it comes to assists, he doesn't give enough assists. But I know he's a good creator. He's actually a good creator. He's not overly selfish, but he can be selfish sometimes. And for me, I think he's the third on that list based on the fact that he's 22 years old. And I know that there is still room for improvement. And when it comes to Barcelona, I know he might actually improve his game. But seriously, he's that kind of player that Barcelona fans will start complaining about when he does not deliver. Because for sure, Nico Williams is not that too wonderful of a player, of a winger. Now, the fourth on that list for me will be Luis Diaz. But I'm not sure if Liverpool is going to let him go. He's 28 and almost AG. Before by January he's going to be 29. So I think he's quite old. And in the next 2 years he's going to be 30. So before we know it, he's already 30, and we are looking for a new winger. That's why he's fourth on that list. But when it comes to his dribbling skills, his creative skills, scoring goals, Luis Diaz is that player that I would have considered number 2 or number 3. But the fact that he's 28 going to 29 right now, I think he should be fourth on that list. Then the last player I want Barcelona to consider is Rafael Leao. Yes, Leao is 25 years old. He's very young. He has his strength and he has his flaws. But he's that kind of player that I know that Barcelona fans are going to complain so much about because of his flaws. Now look at his strengths. He's a good dribbler and he's also pacey. And sometimes he can give you goals. But his flaws, he's that player that gets tired easily. He's not that player that will complete 90 minutes being on top. When Rafael Leao's fatigue kicks in, he's a horrible player. When he's tired, he hardly completes his dribbles, he gives away the ball, and he's somehow selfish. He's more selfish than he is creative. He is more selfish than he is creative. Now he relies on his pace to dribble. So whenever that fatigue kicks in, he no longer, has the strength to dribble, his markers. I've watched him at AC Milan. I've watched him at Portugal. Leao can be horrible when he's very tired. But aside that, he's a good dribbler, not really flawless, and he can actually give you goals, but not at the level that Barcelona wants him to operate on. So the fact that he's not flawless when it comes to dribbles, and that is one of his strengths, he loves to dribble. And that's not the kind of player we want at Barcelona. We are seriously going to complain about Rafael Leao on the long run. So that's why I put him last on that list. He's not that kind of player that we want to, have on that wing, buzz that wing for a full 90 minutes. We want a player that, he's only been substituted because of a tactical change. Maybe there's a red card and the player needs to come off and Hansi Flick chooses to, replace him, or he's been replaced because of, a very important game, ahead of us, or he's been replaced because, Hansi Flick wants to defend more instead of, attacking more. That is the only reasons we want our wingers or some of our players to be replaced, or when another player needs playing time. But when it comes to replacing a player because he's playing badly, that is not what we want for our wingers. And Rafael Leao is that player that might come off because of how he's performing in a match. So he's a player that I'm sure that my Barcelona fans are going to complain about, in the long run, and that is not what we want at the club. So for me right now, Ademola Lookman, Marcus Rashford, Nico Williams, Luis Diaz, and Rafael Leao. This is just the order I want Barcelona to consider signing these players during the summer. Thank you.